Your Excellency, Baba Komiot, Excellencies, brothers and sisters, it is for me an honor and a privilege to pay this tribute to the late Pope of Alexandria and Patriarch of the See of St. Mark, His Holiness Shunouda III. I am sure that I am interpreting the sentiments of His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI, with whose words, in the message of condolences that he sent, I wish to begin. Speaking of His Holiness Pope Shunouda III, Benedict says, I recall with gratitude his commitment to Christian unity, his memorable visit to my predecessor, Pope Paul VI, and their signing together on the 10th of May 1973 in Rome, the common declaration of faith in the incarnation of the Son of God, as also his meeting in Cairo with Pope John Paul II on the 24th of February in the year 2000 during the Great Jubilee of the Incarnation. Elected the 117th Patriarch of Alexandria in November 1971, slightly more than a year later, in May 1973, Pope Shunouda journeyed to meet with the Bishop of Rome. The timing was deliberate. The visit coincided with the 16th centenary of the death of Saint Athanasius, occurring on the 6th of May of that year. On that very day, Pope Shunouda assisted at a solemn liturgy in St. Peter's Basilica, at which Pope Paul VI presided. At the end of the ceremony, the two church leaders exchanged a fraternal embrace to the enthusiastic applause of the faithful present. A prayer to Saint Athanasius followed, after which Pope Paul gave his illustrious gift, a relic of the saint. At their first meeting, the previous day, Pope Paul had expressed his joy. We are truly happy, he said, to welcome your holiness to our home. From the day of your elevation to your position as father and head of the Coptic Orthodox Church, God has granted us the grace to maintain frequent relations through letters and through the ministry of our representatives. Now we have this opportunity to meet face to face. It is a solemn moment and a joyful one. In his words at the end of the ceremony in St. Peter's, Pope Shunouda recalled some of these frequent relations. The fact that delegates of the Coptic Orthodox Church had attended the sessions of the Second Vatican Council, the presence of Catholic representatives at the inauguration of this Cathedral of St. Mark in 1968, and the gift on that occasion of a relic of St. Mark. The theological consultation in Vienna in 1971, where a tentative formula of faith about the nature of Christ was drawn up, and approved. This tentative formula formed the base for the central part of the common declaration, which was signed by the two heads of churches on the 10th of May 1973, before His Holiness Pope Shunouda returned to Cairo. It is interesting to note that this declaration, although mainly doctrinal in content, ends with a mention of the suffering and homeless Palestinian people. It looks forward to a just solution for the Middle East crisis. As is well known, peace in the Middle East was always a major concern for Pope Shunouda. His Holiness Pope Shunouda had extended to Pope Paul VI a cordial invitation to visit Egypt. It was, however, Pope John Paul II, who was the first Bishop of Rome to come to Egypt, including the country in his program of pilgrimages for the Jubilee of the year 2000. On the day of his arrival, he visited His Holiness Pope Shunouda here at the Marqusiyya. The following day, both leaders were present at an ecumenical service. At the end of the service, breaking with formality, Pope Shunouda embraced John Paul II and said to him, "We love our country and we love you." Pope John Paul replied, "We love you too." It is only right to mention that in the meantime, theological discussions have continued between the two churches. In 2003, a new International Joint Commission for Theological Dialogue was established between the Catholic Church and the Oriental Orthodox churches. The annual meeting, and the first of this new series was held in Cairo in 2004, and the last one took place in January of this year in Addis Ababa. This annual meeting is co-chaired by His Eminence Metropolitan Bishop Bishoy of Damietta and His Eminence Cardinal Kurt Koch, the President of the Pontifical Council for the Promotion of Christian Unity. I am sure that His Holiness Pope Shunouda followed attentively the work of this commission, which he considered a means to strengthen the bonds of brotherly affection between the two apostolic churches and a way to the full unity of the Church, which is the hope and desire of all Christians. Allow me to end this short testimony with some personal reminiscences of His Holiness Pope Shunouda. Like many others, I have had the privilege of attending on occasion his weekly audience in this cathedral. I have admired the combination of wisdom and humor as he answered questions put to him and as he expounded the scriptures, always bringing people back to the demands of the gospel message. I also remember with gratitude the number of times it was possible to greet His Holiness on the occasion of feasts or when accompanying distinguished visitors. What will remain in mind particularly is the twinkle in his eye as he responded to a question, and the genuine warmth he showed to all. In his last years, His Holiness suffered greatly from ill health, yet he continued to give of himself wholeheartedly for the good of the Church. His example is an inspiration to us all. And I conclude with the words spoken by John Paul II on the occasion of his meeting with Pope Shunouda. God bless Egypt. God bless the Church of Pope Shunouda. Thank you.